True democracy. Well, from the definition of democracy, which means it's a government of the people, by the people and for the people, the essence of it, when we talk of true democracy, is having people be able to voice their opinion. Not necessarily the majority, but having everybody in the society being able to express themselves. It is contrary to what we have now, which is like the majority always have the same. And most of the time, the views of the minority are swept under the carpet. So if we're talking of true democracy, the voice of everyone, the concern of everyone needs to be taken into consideration. In my country, Nigeria, for example, there has been a talk going on for some time now, agitation, talking about true federalism. And on one part, the government appears unwilling to listen to people. On the other hand, people say, no, you have to listen. So in most countries in the world, you don't really have what we call the true democracy, because somebody is afraid, especially those in government. You feel like if you allow too much liberty, things can go out of control. So true democracy is when you have people able to express themselves, able to speak for themselves, and then their needs are addressed in the society.
Oui, nécessairement, parce qu'avant ça, là, est loco. Il faut la connaissance. Il faut que tu aies la connaissance dans ce que tu dois faire. Nécessairement que même pour la politique aussi, il faut avoir cette connaissance de la politique. Savoir c'est quoi l'objectif de la politique. Et n'est vraiment pas te regarder toi, mais la politique, c'est plus large que tout ça. C'est pour aider plusieurs personnes. Donc, oui, tu dois nécessairement avoir cette connaissance de la politique afin de bien faire ton boulot.
Of course. Not only should they be skilled in their profession or occupation, but they should also be made accountable. If they don't produce good results, they should be made accountable for that. So just as a doctor is made accountable, let's say he makes a mistake in the surgery, or a surgeon makes a mistake in the surgery and it ends up with somebody losing his life, he's made accountable for that.
Yeah, definitely they should have the skills, knowledge and everything, whatever they can get about politics, whatever they can know about politics, or how to rule the country or how to rule a city. Basically, if we are electing a chairman, even for society, he should know what are the good things, what are the bad things which can affect the people of society. So without knowing them, he can't benefit us. So, but basically in real world, politicians, they are going up there, they have money, or maybe they are famous, or maybe something else, and they are winning. But they don't have any skills. That's why in real world we are facing this problem that democracy is not real democracy.
Yeah, that's a very, very important thing. And in fact, as we are asking this question, my mind goes to the United States of America, where there is a system whereby for people to be selected into leadership position, they go through some tests. And now I'm speaking as a psychologist. There is what we call the MMPI, Minnesota Multifaceted Personality Inventory. The personality of the person will be tested and be taken through all kind of checks to be sure that he's fit to lead in the first instance. So people say leaders are made, not born. So every person who will become a leader needs to be trained. And politicians or political leaders are not exempted from that. What I would advocate for is like kind of a leadership, development. Because people can study political science. Of course, again, not all politicians necessarily study political science. We have many of them who are lawyers, people from different professions, even doctors. So if we have a unified training program for those who go into political leadership, that would be a very good idea. That would be a very good idea. We have training, just like you said, for example, for those who go into civil service. So since political, leadership has to do with governance, then it is compulsory. It's very, very compulsory for those who aspire to political office to go through a training, to have their personality checked, go through that kind of MMPI I mentioned earlier on, to be sure they are well assessed and made fit, before they can be given leadership responsibility.
Pour le moment, non. Et ça n'a jamais été le cas au Congo parce que au Congo, c'est vrai qu'il y a certains politiciens qui peuvent connaître la politique. Mais le plus grand problème, c'est la volonté de faire. La volonté de faire cette politique, la volonté de voir la population congolaise s'élever au rang des grandes puissances mondiales. C'est ça le problème. Ils peuvent connaître, mais ils n'ont vraiment pas cette volonté-là. Donc, en soi, non, ils n'ont...
I like to think that is the case in Nigeria, but the recent happenings in Nigeria tells me otherwise. I mean, it looks as if they don't really know what they're doing. They keep on trying different policies. It doesn't work, they try another one. It's as if they're just testing different policies on us, and we are the ones suffering it, and they are up there in the power, they're up there with the money and stuff like that. They don't feel what we feel. As a student studying in India, I mean, my card was like cancelled. I can't use my ATM card anymore, so I have to rely on Western Union because of their policies. So it's affecting me, not them. So they should stop playing ball with us, because I'm not ready to play ball, and I don't play ball.
Bon, ce que je peux faire, it is not confirmed yet, but what I guess is, if I became one day a successful man, if I finish my bachelor, I complete my masters, but I can bring something in my country, like I'm doing chemistry. I can bring some chemistry stuff which will help in my country. And à propos des politiques, bon, je peux, avec les connaissances qu'on aura, bon, je peux aider de sorte que les problèmes de l'économie les problèmes des politiques puissent un peu aussi évoluer.
Bon, oui, avec la faculté que je fais, par exemple, moi je fais la construction. Je pourrais venir investir, essayer de construire, essayer d'urbaniser le Congo. Mais pour ça, je ne peux pas le faire tout seul. Il faut que j'aie de l'aide. Il faut que de l'aide vienne du gouvernement. Il faut que de l'aide vienne des entreprises privées. Et pour que tout ça soit bien réalisable ou que tout ça soit vraiment, vraiment bien fait, il faut vraiment qu'on ait un gouvernement compétent, comme je l'ai dit à la deuxième question. Il faut qu'on ait un gouvernement compétent qui peut nous faciliter la tâche, et avec tout ça, on pourra aller de l'avant.
As an individual, I'm starting to make myself better. First of all, so when they play ball, it doesn't really affect me. So I kind of believe if every other person does that, if every other person tries to better themselves, but try to educate themselves better and try to stand on their own 2 feet, even within and outside their country. Although sometimes it's not possible for everybody, but this is my immediate treatment, because although I want the best for my country, but while pursuing that, I also have to care for myself and my family. So by bettering ourselves to be able to stand on our own 2 feet within and outside our country, I believe that's a stepping stone for us to, better handle the consequences of their mistakes. Apart from that, I think youth empowerment is very necessary. Although they say they're doing lots of things for youth empowerment and stuff like that, but the point is that some things they promote in my country, like Big Boss, singing competitions and stuff like that, the amount of money the winners get is like in millions compared to what the people that come out with good grades in mathematics in schools get. They just get a few 100,000 and stuff like that. I think it should be reversed. I know talent is important, musical talent is important, but the things that actually develop the country, it's more in the educational sector. If those things are more developed, more than publicizing other like music, acting and stuff like that. Those are important, but let's think of the main thing that Nigeria needs right now. It needs people that has a brain, educated, that can impact that knowledge and make good use of the resources in Nigeria, not just squandering it.
Yeah, that's a very important idea. And again, I remember when I was in primary school, there used to be a subject called civics. We were taught that when we were in primary school. Civics introduces you to basic ways of how to conduct yourself, how to behave in the society. And it taught us, issues of governance, from local government leadership out to federal. But I think maybe one thing was missing from that. They could mention, okay, you can vote at this stage and all of that. But one thing that was missing in that could be how to identify good leadership, which I think is partly related to the question you are asking. So it would be a very good thing, to have that kind of training and exposure to young people so that they are trained on how to know good leaders, on how to know their responsibility, on how to know who to vote for, how to vote, and all of that. Because many of the young people are usually used by politicians, by giving them some money, bribe them to go and do things, and many don't think, and they just go ahead and they are used as political thugs and all of that. So it would be a good idea if that kind of thing is introduced, to young people. And it's part of their leadership development, it's part of their capacity building.
Yeah, definitely they should include a course, because voting is not like a piece of cake.
Sure.
It's not a piece of cake. So the persons who don't even know that who the person is they are voting for, some person they just vote for money, some person they just vote because it's in their caste. Like my father used to vote for someone who is Jat. So similarly, there are many reasons they should include this course, and I think it should be included after like primary school, middle school to high school, because in primary school or preschool, I think kids can't understand the meaning of this. Middle school will be a good age to start.
Oui, certainement. Là, c'est la vérité. Là, je suis content, je suis pour avec vous, comme vous venez de dire, que c'est important d'avoir les cours de vote dans l'école. Ce n'est pas du tout mal, c'est aussi bien, c'est une bonne chose de dire ça. Donc, we have to study also that course of voting, how to vote, which kind of person you have to vote, and how to vote, which kind of ability the person has to have. Donc c'est une bonne idée. Donc avoir les cours, ce n'est pas une mauvaise chose. Parce que nous voyons, there are a lot of people, they are voting just because those politicians, they are coming to give them money. Ils vous donnent par exemple les riz, vous achetez les riz, la farine. Vous êtes content, oh non, c'est une bonne personne, vous votez. Alors quand il va partir là-bas, il va faire de mauvaises choses. Donc vous aurez toujours des problèmes. Donc c'est une bonne idée. Il faut aussi instruire ces cours-là de vote à l'école primaire ou à l'école des humanités pour que les gens puissent avoir cette notion-là. La notion-là de comment voter et quelle sorte de personnes il faut voter. Donc c'est ça même qui va aussi aider dans le pays. Donc c'est un peu ça.
Candidat.
Oui, moi je trouve que oui, pour le Congo, oui, c'est important parce que beaucoup de gens se rendent aux élections, se rendent aux urnes et votent par sentiment et non par la logique des choses. Ils ne voient pas qui est compétent ou qui n'est pas compétent, ils voient ce qui s'est passé pendant la campagne. Je te donne un exemple, quelqu'un qui vient dans votre quartier ou dans votre commune et qui donne, je ne sais pas, 2-3 poissons ou qui jette un peu d'argent et le lendemain vous le votez. Non, il faut se baser sur qu'est-ce qu'il veut, c'est quoi son projet, c'est quoi son idéologie. Il faut se baser sur tout ça et bien connaître la personne mentalement parlant, s'il est capable de faire ça. Parce qu'aujourd'hui, beaucoup de politiciens sont plus là pour parler, pour nous faire sortir des paroles sucrées. Et quand ils arrivent là où ils veulent être, ils oublient tout ce qu'ils ont promis. Ils pensent qu'à eux. Et vraiment, je crois qu'il faut cesser ça et conscientiser la population congolaise. Donc, je pense que c'est important qu'on mette ce cours, qu'on mette un cours comme ça à l'école secondaire qui va nous permettre d'éduquer la population.
Yes, it should start from even primary school. So let our children be educated. Let them know that there is a criteria necessary for the people out there, up there, to rule them. So the power will belong to us. If they don't fit that criteria, even if it's by just 1%, they won't be voted for. Like Nigerians, like the last election that we had, we voted the president out of office because we thought he was not doing anything, because things were stagnant. We voted another president into the office and things just went down. Although they blamed the former president, the one we voted out, for mismanagement, and when he handed over everything to him, everything just crumbled. It was not really his fault. But I believe that we should just not vote for people because they are from a certain ethnicity or a certain state, or because they are a certain age, or because it is time for the North to be voted in, or it's time for people from the South to be voted in. There should be a very strict criteria, because for a person to be put in the position of power to lead an entire country, of course the balance has to be raised. You just don't vote for the person. You should take his experience into consideration, his family life into consideration, his educational background into consideration, and how he is personally, his beliefs, his values into consideration.
Decision should be based on logic, but on the basis of logic the mass has, not just one person's logic. One person's logic or two persons' logic or even 10% logic can be wrong, but if the mass has the same logic, it can't be wrong.
Majority is not always right every time, because it's possible to sway people. So that's why I think the issue of logic, whether something is right or wrong, it's good that that is used as a yardstick in taking decision. If a decision is to be taken, it has to have cultural relevance also. And this reminds me of when the former president of America went to Kenya before his tenure expired. And one of the reasons he went to Kenya was to actually advocate for the government to recognize gay marriage, lesbianism, and all of that.
If somebody is a law-abiding citizen who is going about their business and working in a job and obeying the traffic signs and doing all the other things that good citizens are supposed to do, and not harming anybody, the idea that they are going to be treated differently or abused because of who they love is wrong. Full stop.
And the president of Kenya and a lot of people there told him to his face that this is alien to our culture. Even though there are some agitating for that and there are some influential powers supporting that, but because it was not logical, it was not reasonable, and it was alien to the culture of that country, they said no. So,
asking the president not to talk about the gay agenda.
We do not want him to come and talk on homosexuality in Kenya or push us to accepting that, which is against our faith and our culture.
Mark Kariuki is the key architect of that letter. He leads an alliance representing 38,000 churches and 10 million Kenyan Christians. He welcomes the president's visit, but says leave the gay talk in America.
Let him talk about development, let him talk about cooperation, let him talk about the long-time relationship Kenya has had with America, but about our beliefs and culture, keep off.
We equally reject attempts to prescribe new rights that are contrary to our values, norms, traditions, and beliefs. We are not gays.
It's good to look at the the fact of whether this decision is right or wrong, instead of just allowing majority to, have the way. All. I think culture is changing and things are not static. Years back, we would talk about people of 18 years as being those who are matured, but even now we have people, from 12 years, demonstrating a sense of responsibility and maturity. So age may not always be the factor, but the empowerment, the understanding, and the training will be a good yardstick. So, for example, if some of these principles are incorporated into subjects like civics or political science, which is taught in some secondary schools, on how to identify good leadership, they understand what it means to be a leader. If somebody goes through that and is less than 18 years, I'm giving a certificate and has to vote. I have a daughter who is 16 years, but she understands, a lot of what is going on in governance, but she cannot vote. But that does not mean that she doesn't have the understanding, because she can read the newspaper, she listens to news, everything, So I think there should be room to maybe base the issue of right to vote on the premise of the understanding the person has, not necessarily the age. Because we have people who are old, 50, 60, 70, who don't even know what is going on. And especially because in this generation, young people are reading so much. It was not like that. They have so many, and it was not like in the past. Today they have so many channels to get information, social media and all of that. So they are more informed. Young people are more informed these days than in the olden days. So that's where possibly the issue of age can be looked into and maybe brought down a little bit for younger people to participate, provided they are educated.
Oui, je pense qu'il y a plusieurs qualifications. Il faut déjà être mature. Être mature ne vient pas seulement avec l'âge. C'est vrai que l'âge aussi compte, mais être mature, ça veut dire comprendre les gens, savoir pourquoi tu votes. C'est quoi ton objectif quand tu vas voter? Tu ne peux pas aller voter pour le plaisir de voter. Il faut savoir c'est quoi ton objectif. Qu'est-ce que tu attends? Qu'est-ce que tu veux que la personne que tu dois voter fasse pour toi et pour l'avenir, et pour ton avenir, pardon. C'est comme ça qu'on doit voter, c'est comme ça qu'on doit prendre des choses aujourd'hui. Donc faut vraiment pas se baser sur l'âge, mais qu'on se base sur les qualifications de la personne. Cette personne est mature, qu'est-ce qu'il voit? C'est quoi son idéologie pour l'avenir? C'est comme ça que nous devons voter.
Of course. Like in my country, it's like the older you are, you can get into office. Like there is no young person. There is absolutely no young person that has ever ruled us. And I don't know, they keep on saying, the older you are, the more experienced or intelligent you are. I have not seen how true that is, in the past few leaderships in our country. I mean, our president right now is older than our country since we got independence. And I'm not seeing the fruits of that. So I'm not saying he's not trying, he must be trying. Okay, it can't be that easy, there are lots of power, push and pulls in the political arena.
Should we have more qualifications apart from age? Like for example, training, certificate or qualification, pass exam to vote.
They should go deep into his childhood. They should go deep into it's not just your age. Go deep into his childhood. Go deep into what he does.
They have to track his roots or her roots.
Yeah, track it. Does he have a criminal record? Has he done something unsavory in the past? Let us know. He's gonna lead us. Let us know. When he got into that position, he should have known that it's not gonna be easy.
That is another important thing. Many governments, again, if I go back to my country, there has been a lot of changes in the style of education, the curriculum. There's a time we have the 6-5-4, now there's 6-3-3-4 and all of that. And all the reason why they were doing all of that was to see how people who graduate from colleges can be marketable. But many times the governments are not getting it because they are not consistent. So one government comes in, it changes the policy, start with another one. Education is not just academic knowledge. Education involves both academic and the practical knowledge. So while students are in colleges, they should be exposed to various vocations that help them to identify their strength, and then they'll be able to later in life be confident in what they are doing. Now, as a psychologist, we always say that it is not everybody who must necessarily start from primary school and end up in the university. Some will be better just with maybe grade 12. Some will be better with even grade 6. When you're able to incorporate proper psychological assessments into our training or educational program, you'll be able to identify those who are gifted in some craft work, in some handwork at an early age, and who may not necessarily need to proceed even to university level before they can be somebody in life and find fulfillment. So the educational system we have today is such that emphasizes too much on the paper qualifications. And these paper qualifications has made many graduates to be useless to the industry. I mean, we are having a case in India, for example, where last year, I look at that paper personally, where the industries were complaining that more than 60% of Masters of Business Administration graduates in India didn't know anything about what they learned in school. So when they go to the university, the workplace, they didn't know what to do, and which meant the university possibly did not equip them well, or the university did not monitor their training, because some were just reading to pass. They were not getting the stuff they were being taught incorporated into their system. So the paper qualification system, which is like the order of the day now, there has to be a change, and we get people to be trained in more practical way so that they can find fulfillment for their own lives first, and also be able to be of good use in their workplace and their vocation. With that, they can have a fulfilled life.